by the way, this is also one other aspect of obviously like never-ending short-term profits. They haven't even walked it back yet. It's still hog shit. There's a breakdown of the update from an affected dev. Here, let's watch the MAGA Mail video on this. Because apparently our fave, he made a video on it called "This Company is Scamming Game Devs." MAGA Mail looking more MAGA than ever, by the way, with this fucking haircut.
I know it looks bad. I'm gonna shave it. The only reason I haven't shaved it yet is because I have a pimple underneath. It's a genius strategy I came up with. It's a pimple-blocking mustache.
I'm going to pee. I'll be back.
Let's talk about what we're here to talk about today, which is some huge gaming drama. And for once, it's not on the esports side of things, which is going horribly per usual. But it's about the much more interesting side of gaming, the side that makes money, game development. And there's one company in particular seeing all the money be made, and they want a little piece of it. And that company is Unity, who tweeted out today that they made a change to their business model, which includes new additions to our subscription plans and the introduction of a runtime fee. To which I read this morning and thought to myself, what the hell's a runtime fee? And moved on with my day until I saw the claws come out from Jeff Keighley, who dropped a "what a joke" period in response. This is a scathing response from a normally well-mannered man. So I thought to myself, what's going on? Why is the social media manager copy and pasting the phrase fraud detection? It seems like we've got a mystery on our hands, Scoobs. And so we have to start at the beginning. What is Unity? And to clear that up, well, it is a game engine. It's a place where you make video games, and different developers use it to make games that you recognize, like Fall Guys or Cuphead or Hollow Knight or any of the games on this list, which are all amazing games. Okay, how does Unity make money? Or how did Unity make most of their money? Well, through a subscription service. You basically sign up monthly or yearly. There's different plans for an enterprise or an individual. There's even a free plan, and that's kind of how you get hooked. And they even increased the price of their plan last year almost to the day, September 13th, 2022. So they were trying to make a little bit more money. But recently, as they tweeted out, they want to make money in a new way. And this new way is the runtime fee. And in it, they say, as many of you know, the Unity engine is in fact two substantial software components, the Unity editor and the Unity runtime. Unity runtime is code that executes on player devices and makes made with Unity games work at scale with billions of monthly downloads. So basically, anytime you buy a game and then you go to install the game, you're also installing the Unity runtime. And this is the end of where I will explain what it is. Just know that you use it every time you use a Unity game, and you need to be using it. And Unity also needs to be updating it so it works with different computers and OSs and whatever the hell, okay? And I'm not going to try to explain any further because I'm dumb and you're going to make fun of me in the comments. It's what's going to happen. Let's make it simple. Every time you play a Unity game, you must run the runtime software. Unity has to keep developing this software to work on every single PC or console or whatever, so they're hoping to make a little extra money. They're also a corporation, so of course they want to make extra money. And how are they trying to get it? By charging developers per install. Now, there's some additional rules and caveats like thresholds of who they're actually trying to target, which is usually larger developers, and how much they're willing to take, which scales lower and lower the bigger your game is. But at its core, that's the big shift, which is a huge shift because they went from a subscription-based model where there's a flat fee the developers knows they're going to pay to a scalable model where now big games are going to have to pay a lot more money. And it doesn't even have to be that big to start paying a huge chunk. Here's an example from...
You know what's really funny about this, by the way? They always... This is something I've noticed from my own personal experience talking to CEOs in different sectors, is that they literally try to claim that this is like a progressive tax, okay? When it's like, that's not how commodity production works, okay? Like, no, you're just adding additional fees. This is an entirely separate planet than taxation, okay?
Unity's website directly. I don't even have to make up the numbers. They did it for us. In this example, we have a game that made $2 million in the past year and had 5 million installs, which surpasses both thresholds. If they were to have 200,000 installs from standard fee countries and 100,000 installs from emerging market fee countries, they would owe $23,500 in just 1 month. If that keeps going for a year, they would owe $282,000 or 14% of this $2 million revenue number that they posted, which is insane. 14% of all of the money you make is high. It is much higher than a company like Unreal Engine, a competitor who charges a 5% license fee and does a revenue share system. And it doesn't just impact big devs. It also impacts some smaller indie creators, like one you might recognize, Danny, who tweeted out a meme here because obviously no fees are retroactive. Oh shit, I guess I owe Unity $5.6 million because he made Muck and Crab Game, which were huge games, 28 million downloads. And he used the Unity personal pricing, which was 20 cents per install. But even if you use the Unity enterprise pricing, that would still be like $280,000 owed. And again, to be clear, this does not charge a developer who hasn't made at least $1 million with their game, but it does set some scary precedents. Specifically, this meme. Unity is making this real. Pirate game. Delete it and download it again 9 more times. Company loses $600. Is this becoming true now? Can there be campaigns to reinstall games?
Unity wanted to count web visits as an installation. Are you serious? Install definition. The installation and initialization of a game or app on an end user's device as well as distribution via streaming or web browser is considered an install. Games or apps with substantially similar content may be counted as one project with installs then aggregated to calculate the Unity runtime free. No shot. Yes, because Unity also works on browsers. Ludwig is wrong. At least yesterday they stated the fee is retroactive for the last 4 years. That's insane. They're going to like try and fucking claw back fees as well from like indie developers. Like what the fuck? It doesn't make any... Oh, God. This video has a lot of misinformation. Fees are not applied retroactively on old installs. Old games are effective, but only new installs after 2024. Unity stock since yesterday's glorious announcement of charging developers per install of their game starting 2024. Yeah, except... Guess what? Unity bosses sold stock ahead of the scummy dev fees announcement. So they're fine. You know what I mean? They're better off than the people that will inevitably get laid off. They're better off than the fucking indie developers that will no longer be able to use that. Ah, fuck. Lol, they changed it over the day, turning a big dial that says business school on it and constantly looking back at the audience for approval like a contestant on a Price is Right. This has to make gamers more communist? No, it won't. Dude, this has been happening. Gamers hate EA. And they don't understand why they hate EA. So then they yell about pronouns. Do you understand? This has not changed. In my lifetime, this industry has ballooned into one that is larger than the movie industry and the music industry combined. And yet, gamers do not have the mental fortitude to comprehend that this is just pure extraction, okay? It's extortion. It's capital owners, ruining their experience and the art that they enjoy and consume, okay? They hate microtransactions. They hate DLCs. They hate all this shit, and they don't even fucking understand the major reasons as to why this is happening. And then they end up becoming more and more reactionary as they fucking fling towards dumbass shit like fucking pronouns. Stop current daying us. It's corporate greed through and through. It is no different than the original story I was talking about, which led me into this coverage anyway, which is that Americans, not even just gamers, right? Just most people living in this fucking country look at that guy, the Tim Gurner guy, and go, fuck that piece of shit. That guy is evil. While they simultaneously refuse to comprehend. They have this like inability to understand that what that guy is saying is no different than what the government is doing and is no different than what every other capital owner is interested in doing to you. Okay? This is class consciousness, and America is devoid of it. A big part of what I try to do is explain that to people and instill that among people, and for that I have, of course, been shitted on and fucking vilified endlessly as they point to like some made-up hypocrisy that they have in their minds about me and my financial success, being like, oh, Hasan, you're fucking rich, shut the fuck up. Therefore, this happens in every facet of existence, including something as silly as like independent game developers. Okay?
And those were answered in a Q&A by some people at Unity. How are you going to collect install data? Well, we leverage our own proprietary data model, which gives us, we think, an accurate determination of the number of times the runtime is distributed. Basically, trust us, bro. Okay, well, what about reinstalls or re-downloads? Would that count as multiple installs? Yes. The creator would need to pay full for all future installs. Okay. What about a demo? Like you release a game that costs money and then you release a demo and they have to install that demo, which also uses the runtime software. And it's like mostly no, but sometimes maybe. All right. What about pirated games? People who illegally download the game, but they're still running the runtime software because they have to do it to play the game. Well, again, trust us, bro. We have fraud detection practices. Basically, there's a lot of reliance on Unity, which is tough to trust right now because they can't even get their message out clearly. You remember how I just told you that they would be charging for multiple installs? Well, they walked that back today. Apparently, they're only going to charge for one installation of a game. But how do they track that? Are they able to track my multiple computers or multiple devices? What if I do it on console or PC or Steam Deck? It seems like there's going to be a lot of holes. And this has scared devs shitless. It has led to the least productive day in game development history. Here's one of the creators of Among Us talking about how they're thinking about how they would port the game away from Unity to a competitor like Godot rather than actually paying these fees, because it would be cheaper to just do that. Here's Massive Monster saying, hey, we made Cult of Lamb. We like making games. We like using Unity. This shit sucks. We're going to stop using Unity. Here's Aggro Crab also signing up saying, hey, we have a game going to Game Pass. Can we actually trust?
By the way, this is also one other aspect of obviously like never-ending short-term profit seeking, but also the money faucet on the tech sector getting shut off, okay? Sorry if I missed it, but have you gone over some more News' weed video? No. And I probably won't watch it. All right, let's keep going.
Unity to track.
For the record, Game Pass, great for consumers, but not necessarily so great for devs in the same way that Netflix and that model is not great. The subscription model that is Silicon Valley tech disruption, right, has been massively shitty for people who generate the content, people who generate the value. I just want to point that out for everyone here. Obviously, as consumers, we love that, okay? On the consumer side, we're like, this is great. This is sick. Love this, okay? I get to listen to all my music. It's in one place. I don't even need to fucking, pirate anymore. I don't even have to engage in piracy. But it's kind of the same thing. Game Pass is no different in many respects than Netflix. The subscription model is honestly a model that will probably have to go away because the inverse of it, or if the continuation of the subscription model is genuinely devastating for the people that are creating the value. This is honestly a completely incorrect take. Really? That's interesting that you say that. Because Netflix is quite literally at the heart of an ongoing labor strike. And they are the ones who are, championing the continuation of this work stoppage in Hollywood. Okay? Yes, many indie devs survive by going on Game Pass. Oh. Just wait. Butterscotch Shenanigans recently had a podcast on the topic. Just wait. Game Pass is still relatively... Game Pass is like Netflix's early stages, okay? Just wait. Just fucking wait. Okay? This is no different than the concept that if Netflix doesn't exist, then a shit ton of the production that is a relatively low cost that people actually make projects on for Netflix specifically will no longer will no longer be done. Like these movies are not going to be made if Netflix doesn't exist. I do not. Also, the creative director of The Simpsons was extremely excited to leave the studio to go create content for Netflix. Yeah. If you personally think that Netflix has been good for content creation, I don't know what to tell you. Specifically because, once again, Netflix is too cheap for the content that you're watching. The revenue generation mechanism relies on underpaying workers, okay? There's a current ongoing strike on the rev share, or rather lack thereof, with Netflix. Where have you been? Game Pass tried to raise the price twice and people riot. The only reason they're quiet to win monopoly and cloud streaming. Yes. I use Game Pass like a game demo service. I like the game, then I buy it directly to support devs. By the way, that earlier chatter basically said devs should be thankful for the Game Pass because of a few people who make money from it, which, by the way, isn't what I was saying. I was saying that Game Pass is worse per unit revenue than direct sales for devs. Yes. It's real. It happens in the real world every single day. It happens in ways that you sometimes experience, understand, comprehend, and it happens in ways that you can't comprehend in many instances because the system is designed in a way to make you not recognize or reconcile, rather, with the hurt that you're experiencing. The system works in a way where they take the anger that you feel and reappropriate it or redirect it towards those who are more marginalized than you, have less than you.
Track effectively people installing in Game Pass versus on their own personal computers. This is all very scary. Even publishers like Developer Digital are talking about perhaps not publishing games if they're using certain engines. They're being somewhat coy about this, but it's pretty clear people are trying to stay away from Unity now. If this decision goes through, it's going to impact everyone, including you. It's going to totally change the timelines for games that are currently in the pipeline. Games that had a few months of work are now going to be scrapped and have to be remade in a different engine. We might never see Hollow Knight Silksong. But on the other hand, I get what Unity's trying to do. They want to make money, cover their costs, make a surplus by charging the big guys. They don't want to blanket punish everybody using Unity by increasing subscription prices year over year. They want to start targeting the people that have a shit ton of downloads. People that use Unity like Pokemon Go, Genshin Impact, Honkai Star Rail, Raid Shadow Legends. These companies are getting millions and millions and millions of downloads, and they are getting charged the same amount as an indie dev. So in a way, yes, they should maybe be charged more. That to me makes sense. But it also only works if your customers trust you, and nobody trusts Unity right now. There's way too much reliance on them for the fraud detection to make sure developers aren't getting scammed by unhappy customers, or to make sure that they're actually able to tell when someone's installing at Game Pass versus installing on their own personal PC. And how are they really able to tell if it's multiple installs or one install? So I think they should go back to the drawing board, plan this up a little bit better, stop changing the plan the same day you announce it, and then have a release sometime later on. Anyway, that's it. That's your game drama. Have a good one. See you later. Goodbye.
Did Ludwig buy into the progressive tax idea, LMFAO? Yes. It's a perfect way to... It is a perfect way to repackage something for like more progressive people. For more progressive capitalists. You can sell that concept very well. I took the night off discourse, but now that I'm back, let's talk about how this concession by Unity still doesn't make any sense. A, they say install fees from Game Pass won't be sent to the developer since Xbox Microsoft is a distributor in that situation. But what exactly determines a distributor? When our game is sold on Steam, is Valve not the distributor? There's still so much fine print we're missing here on the massive change to our business that's supposed to go down in less than 3 months. B, this doesn't change the fact that they have self-described, not going into much detail on where exactly these install counts are going to come from, which is a massive deal. We're being asked to pay for a number that might very well be inaccurate or just plain made up. Okay? If by some incredible maneuver you actually get Microsoft, Sony, Apple, Epic, and other distributors to foot this bill, I'll let you picture how likely that is. you're just going to make those distributors want to avoid games made with your product altogether. So yeah, this is still nowhere near acceptable and is probably totally impossible in the first place. Keep trying. Anyway. Not to mention Gameable, i.e. trolls re-downloading the game they don't like. Yeah. Aggro Crab follows you. Serial. Play their first game. Underwater Souls-like. Is this a Souls-like game? Here at RPG Maker, we don't hate our game developers like Unity does.